So I used to think that was the world, right? Which is people grow up and do jobs. Entrepreneurship in India, uh, my view is there's as much hype around it as there is real action. Right?
Mhm.
So, and obviously you cannot see the real action from the outside. You can only see a lot of the hype. So, by the time you get in, you become very real about it. If there's a thing called loving your job, I think I come very close to it in the kind of stuff I do now. There's a group of people sitting around a table saying, "Let's make this happen."
Right.
So the first things you would end up doing, I think, in an entrepreneurship environment, you're really looking for your customers, right? Which is who's going to pay. If somebody's going to pay, you can hire, right?
Right. Right.
If you can hire, then you can go back to others who will pay, who will then, and then it will become some virtuous cycle. Mm.
Right.
This is the way you're looking at entrepreneurship, right?
Mhm.
It was similar in philanthropy to the extent that we wanted to hire our team, the teams who would make this happen, and execute the first drafts of the plan, translating thought into action quickly,
Mhm.
whether it's entrepreneurship or starting up or any of that. Very helpful. What I'm doing today, I wouldn't be doing, I think, if I didn't study at TISS, uh, which is the social sciences angle and this country type business, right? Which is what's happening in India, like I was referring to earlier. I think so. It's very pivotal into what I did. The work of Mr. Premji. Long before it was fashionable to have credos, mission, value, this, that, he was right up there.
Mhm.
So he was one of the earliest guys who started focusing on these, on the how of business,
Right.
apart from the what of business, right? Which is how do we get things done? What do we value, right? Always believed that values, generally speaking, uh, is the very bedrock of a organization's existence and how far it can go. So the two things that they speak about are called ustadi and insaniyat,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So ustadi is skills, right?
Right.
You can also think of it as head and the kind of things you can do. कि finance में उस्ताद है,
Right.
HR में उस्ताद है, programs में उस्ताद है,
Mhm.
small and marginal farmers में उस्ताद है, adults and girls में उस्ताद है, gender में उस्ताद है,
Right.
governance में उस्ताद है, right? So you can have all these ustads, huh? Um, and the word ustad itself, I mean, ustadi is one, but the word ustad itself. So if you even if you think of different forms of music, right? You have the gods of music everywhere, right? So
Right.
you have somebody singing classical, you have somebody playing the electric guitar, you have somebody, right? So there are all sorts of ustads everywhere. We are surrounded by ustads, which is people who have done one thing for long and become damn good at it through repetition and luck.
Mhm.
So this is ustad, right? Insaniyat, I think, is you can think of it as heart, you can think of it as values, right?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
can think of it as basically तुम अच्छे इंसान हो कि नहीं, right?
Mhm.
Insaniyat, citizenship, good guy, good heart, all these are related concepts,
Right.
right? So obviously, one is wishing that you hire a person who has, I mean, you meet a person who has high ustadi and high insaniyat.
Mhm. Mhm.
If you meet a person with low ustadi and low insaniyat, then you shake hands very quickly, you know. But if you have a person, let's say, who has high ustadi but low insaniyat,
Right.
and high insaniyat and low ustadi, then what will you do? These are the
Mhm.
two cases to talk about. हमको करना है सेवा,
Mhm.
right? And सेवा करना है एक structured fashion में, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So what should be the kind of people that can make this happen? This is the question now. Seva is service, man, right? And so Gandhian concepts, huh? And this is again what the philanthropy has taught me. Seva, Sangharsh, Sangathan, Chintan, right?
Mhm.
You think of service, you think of collectivization, you think of speaking truth to power and revolution, Sangharsh, right?
Mhm.
You speak of research and processing it and thinking, which is Chintan. Hmm?
Mhm.
So all of these are, so seva is to be of use to the other,
Mhm.
hmm, almost selflessly. There are four values. Hmm. Contribute to social change, ownership for significant lasting impact, treat each person with respect, and act with unyielding integrity and courage. These are our four values. It's an opportunity to work with a fairly large philanthropy in doing great work in these areas, right? As to how it is to work within the philanthropy itself, the fact that there is an opportunity, A, it's a fat job, B, you can dive deep, three, there are some very good people around. Mm. And hopefully, as a combination of the work that comes out of the university foundation and philanthropy, this just equitable, humane, sustainable society that we want to build, no, we would have made some moves towards it. Resource allocation has, let's say, people
Mm-hmm.
and ambition, mm,
Right.
associated with it. I mean, it actually has only ambition, right? Which is, what do you want to get done in that area? We were superbly liberal, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by liberal, I don't mean ideology, but liberal is, we were very, very inclusive, let's say. Hmm?
Right. Right.
So even people that weren't partners of ours, right?
Mm-hmm.
The logic we used was that if some of our people knew them, if people in the field knew them, if people in the university knew them, although they didn't have an existing grant relationship going with us, we supported them in the pandemic. You can't be looking away from something that is screaming at you from every newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there might be something that comes like that which we might choose to act in, or something we might choose opportunistically to act in कि इसमें chance लगता है इसमें जाके कुछ करते हैं.
So 400 organizations were supported in the last 3 months and 333 crores were disbursed.
Over 78 lakh people. Hmm. It's not like the person who has done many things has a better chance,
Mm-hmm.
or the person who has done one thing very deeply
Right.
has a better chance, right?
Right.
Both have an equal chance, but it's really a question of this thing that I said called versatility, which
Right.
is which is you can know only small and marginal farmers, but you can be superbly versatile. You can be naturally curious. Specific areas of work where very very defined pieces of work need to get done, then we will use the idea of interning. It goes beyond things like the experience certificate and time for us. We want to deliver a good work ex. Hopefully the person can come back and work for us at some stage. You are responsible for your own development. Hmm. To think of development and work as different is probably wrong. We call our impact function effects and learning, which is, what are the effects you're having and how do you learn from that. So the effects and learning team is the impact team, and I think in the name is a good indication of what they do. Using language as a tool to be understood, and to that extent communications, written communication, super important. Management practices, right? For example, like 360-degree surveys, for example, like performance management conversations, right? We are a hybrid, we have some of it, but we try to put a majorly social heart into those practices as well. For example, we don't do key result areas, goals, percentages, achievements, key performance indicators. We don't do this. We just have an open conversation. It's called a contribution conversation. We use interviews. Interviews are interactions where the data produced by the candidate is being used to make judgments about future success on the job. We just talk.
Mm-hmm.
We talk because we are genuinely interested in people.